Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Monday, January the 31st, the last day of January. Wow. And we're going to be looking at some college basketball on today's show. And as always on Mondays, I'm joined by that handsome gentleman on the other side of me, Mr. Doug Upstone from DocSports.com. Doug, how was your weekend, buddy?
My weekend was very good, Ross. Had a number of good things. And from a betting standpoint, it was kind of weird. It had a lot of unusual things occur, but everything else was good. And no, there's absolutely no truth to the rumor that you and I talked ahead of time to wear white clothing. Okay. So I just want to get that out there.
Hey.
We're not in the news business. We're not trying to color coordinate. It was hapstance that happened. That made it.
Hey, you know what? Copying is the biggest sign of flattery. So it's all good on both ends. Anyway, Doug, the NFL is we're just down to the Super Bowl now. So a major part of our concentration right now will be on college basketball and the NBA. And in your regards, some golf, which a lot of people out there aren't aware of, that Doug's a very good PGA handicapper, and also on the ice in the NHL, which you're doing quite well, as I understand.
That's correct. Yeah, I think things have certainly been going in the right direction. In fact, I even brought for this week, because this is a special one. In fact, it's one of my favorite tournaments of the year. I got my Pebble Beach hat, okay, for this upcoming week. So I was fortunate enough to go there years ago, and got to go all around two of the other courses, because they play on 3 courses this weekend, and I got to go on 2 of them, including Pebble Beach on Sunday, and got through Cleveland Golf, got to sit on the 18th hole in the stands, which was a real treat, and then got to play the course then the following day on Monday.
Wow.
And so it was an experience I'll never forget. And if anybody's a golfer out there watching this video, if you have an opportunity to play Pebble Beach, it's going to cost you a lot of money, but it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience you will never forget. So I would highly recommend it. But yes, Ross, golf has been very good to me to start the season. 3 straight winning weeks. So going to try and continue that. Going to Pebble Beach this weekend to see if I can keep it going on that, because I'll for sure be parked in front of my TV watching a lot of golf this weekend. I can tell you that.
There you go.
But yeah, so some other things going well then too. But as always, looking forward, and hey, college basketball, man, oh man, we had some interesting stuff this weekend, Ross.
Yes, we did. The SEC and Big 12 squared off, and I guess you can call it a challenge, right? The SEC Big 12 challenge.
Yep.
And
I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. And it produced some interesting results. I know I had Texas Tech as a 10-star top play on Saturday over Mississippi State. So I was quite pleased with that. Some other really, really good games. Baylor was upset. So what's your thoughts? What did you see?
Can you believe Alabama?
Yeah, no, I actually had Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
They make no sense. I mean,
no.
You just don't know. And I mean, their victories, they have they have the most quad 1 wins in college basketball, but yet then they've also lost to teams like Georgia, for God's sakes. Okay. Yes. I mean, that's just pathetic.
Iona, Davidson.
Yeah, well, Iona's not bad.
Davidson's
it's
good
level,
too, but what I'm saying is the expectations for an SEC school playing Iona and playing Davidson, and especially when you play, those games were on a neutral floor, but losing at Georgia was horrendous. I mean, if I recall now, they've now beaten Baylor. They've now beaten
Gonzaga.
They've beaten some good teams.
Yes, right. And I'm drawing a blank too. They beat the one other team that was in the Final Four last year.
4 teams that are currently in the top 25 right now.
Yeah.
So which goes hand in hand with your comment on those quad 1 wins. So yeah, it didn't shock me. As I put in my write-up, Doug, is Alabama's one of those teams. They step up to the competition and they step down to the competition, and it's got to pull your hair out, because when you look at this team and what they're capable of doing, this team could very well at the end of the season end up in the Final Four if they go on a hot run, because they have the talent to do so.
They lost a lot of guys from last year. I mean, they did. So, I mean, to expect them to duplicate, what they had last year was probably a little ambitious. But I mean, you had a first hand look at Nate Oates, when he was
Yeah.
at Buffalo. I
Yes.
mean, so how good a coach he is, and and he's gone on to do that. And one question I had was the recruiting aspect, in the SEC, but he certainly has handled that extremely well. And it's just, there seemed to just be a lack of continuity to start the season. Okay. And the point guard play was a little iffy. Okay. For a while there. So, but yeah, if they put it together now, I mean, I agree with you that they have Final Four ability.
Yes.
Whether they get there or not is another thing. The other thing that struck, I mean, Auburn, bounced back from their so-so performance after being rated #1, and they look good. And the other thing that I knew they've been playing well, but for some reason I just and I obviously had seen it, but it just didn't stick in my head. They're 16-5 against the spread too. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean, they're having, not only are they playing well, I mean, they're going out and getting the job done, from
Yeah.
that standpoint. So I like, a lot what I see from them. And then Kentucky, oh my goodness, what they did to Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that shocked me. I mean, I thought they could win, okay, because I actually don't think this Kansas team is, it's not certainly one of Bill Self's best teams, but they find ways to win. Everything else, they got it early and often from the Wildcats on that one. That's for sure.
Yeah. Kentucky has now moved up to #4 in the AP top 25, the rankings that came out today, Monday, January 31st. So that win certainly catapulted them up the rankings. Kansas still a top 10 team though. So boy, it must be nice to have a program when you say, but this isn't one of Bill Self's better teams and you're still in the top 10,
Yeah.
and I agree. It's not one of their better teams in my estimation, especially defensively. I don't think they're as good defensively as they've been in years past. And I think that's the difference between this team and some of the real good teams that Bill Self has had over the years is Bill Self's real good teams held opponents to under 40% consistently and ranked in the top 5 in defensive field goal percentage and defensive efficiency. I don't think this is as good a Kansas team, regardless of what the statistics says in terms of defense, but they're still dangerous. They're Kansas. They could score points. But I agree with you, Doug. So we got some free picks coming up, and last week that we didn't fare too well, but you know what? On our NFL free pick videos that we did on Thursday, how about that? Doug Upstone, he not only predicted the Kansas City and Cincinnati game to go under 54.5, he predicted it would land on 51. And guess what, folks? The final score, 27-24. And myself, not too bad either. I had the under in the Rams in Frisco. So, hey, you went 2-0 on the videos. But Doug, that was an epic prediction.
Well, it's not like 51's a non-football number. I mean, it'd be different if I had something unusual that that wouldn't add up per se. But no, it just it was just one of those things. I like the game. The number, the odds maker's original call was 51. Made sense to me. I didn't have 27, 24, I'll be honest. But hey, you know what? Sometimes those things just work out your way. And when it does, you feel good about it. And people that, that end up buying it, themselves, or I should say, making their own bets, and they get it, hey, they're happy. So I'm always, like yourself, happy even with free picks to make other people happy and to add to their enjoyment as to what they're doing.
So, you know what? I had the LA Rams in Frisco game under 46 as my 10-star top play on Sunday. So after I got done with the video and assessed and posted on Friday, if you watch this video, you got my 10-star top play. So congratulations. I know that Doug, you also, I believe, had a free pick that you also used as part of your premium package, if I'm not mistaken.
I did not hear, no, not on,
Okay.
not this week. I certainly have, as I mentioned in previous week.
Okay.
Now I missed on Kansas City. I thought the Chiefs would be good, and I know you were on Cincinnati, so that was a better call by you. Well, especially when they got the lead like they did, I just did not see any way that could possibly happen. But I had another one like that too. Speaking of, I had Saturday at Creighton. That's what it was. And Creighton, and they were plus 1.5, and they were up 17 at halftime. And so I was thinking, well, there's like no way they're going to blow this, right, to Xavier. I mean, yeah, Xavier's going to come back, but not blow it. Well, Xavier second half started 19-0 and 25-2.
Oh,
And
man.
so Creighton lost by 10. And
Yeah.
so that was an interesting day. And as I said before, it was an interesting weekend, and that was part of what made it interesting from that standpoint. So we'll just say, you know what, you go along, you have those types of things happen to you, whether it be a day, whether it be two, sometimes a week, whatever it happens to be. But you know what, overall, as long as you just keep doing your best, keep your head up, and just keep going, that's how you can grind away and get yourself a lot of victories doing that.
Yeah. And like I always said, Doug, we always remember the ones we lose like that, but we quickly forget the ones that we win like that. So in my experience, and I know you're going to disagree with me on this, but those types of bad losses compared to miracle wins usually even out. You want to have more of those decisive wins than decisive losses, and that separates you from the rest. I'll tell you what, I went 4-3 over the weekend in college basketball. I had that 10-star top play on Texas Tech, but I also had an excruciating loss. I had Texas -3 over Tennessee. Doug, they're winning by 17 with a little over 10 minutes to play. And Tennessee came all the way back to tie that game. And now I said, well, let me get a reprieve and go overtime. And they fouled Texas with 6 seconds to go in the game. And the guy only makes 1 of the 2 free throws. Of course, now I got no shot for overtime. So in any event, we both lost tough games in college basketball. And you know what? That's what makes us pros. We gather ourselves up the next day. We get up and go right back at it and wipe the slate clean. Yes. Does it sting? Does it hurt? Do you start adding up the numbers and saying what a difference that was, what I lost compared to what I would have won? Absolutely. We all do that. But the best remedy is put it behind you, get up the next morning, start fresh, go at it again. Doug, your free play in college basketball for Tuesday, February the 1st.
Well, in this instance, I live out in the Pac-12 country, and that's a game I'm going to go with for this one. In football, they call the Stanford and California game the game. Okay. In basketball, to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not sure what they call it, but I do know that these two rivalries delight in kicking each other's butts. Okay. No matter what, because it is a big rivalry in that area of the country. Now, California coach, Mark Fox, he's made a living off something he did long ago. He used to be the coach of Nevada, and Nevada, I think they made it to an Elite 8 and a Sweet 16, I believe, in back-to-back years when he was their coach. Well, that helped him get the Georgia job. What did he do at Georgia? Not much. Okay. So he got fired from there. He's gone to California. What's he done at California? Pretty much the same thing. Right now, these Bears, who are less than golden, are on a 7-game losing streak right now, Ross. On the road, they're 0-8. Okay. Now, some might say, hey, well, Doug, hey, they're 5-3 against the spread despite that record. I'll say, you know what? You're absolutely right. One problem. They're losing by 10.3 points per game. Okay, so they're getting whipped on the road. Now, Stanford by no means is a really good club. I'm not going to even pretend to say that. Their 12-7 record isn't bad. They only shoot 43% as a team, and they allow 43.5%. But here's what they do extremely well. They hit the glass. They are +8 in rebound margin, and just as impressive, they're +4 in offensive rebounds. So they're controlling the glass to score points, and then they're cleaning up the glass on the other side, okay, to prevent the opponents from getting easy baskets. Now, the Cardinal come into this one, Ross, a solid 32-18 at home against Pac-12 foes in their last 50 games, while Cal, when they're a road underdog of 6 or less, they are on a 0-6 ATS swoon. So what am I doing? I'm saying I'm going to fly with the Stanford Cardinal at -5.5 to tame the Cal Bears Tuesday night.
Yeah, Stanford's a good team. And not a great team. I don't know if they're even a good team, but they did beat USC. They upset USC at a time when they were undefeated. And they also gave them all they can handle in the road game at USC. So, not a great team, but a good enough team to get by this poor California team, as Doug was saying. So Doug's going to take Stanford -5.5 over California in that rivalry game, which we don't know what it's called, but we do know what it's called in football. Anyway, having said all that, I'm going to take a look at Providence and St. John's. And, you've been working with me long enough, Doug, and when something doesn't make sense, it jumps right out at me. Well, I looked at this line. Well, here we have number 18 Providence, number 15 Providence with an 18-2 record. And they're going to St. John's, who's unranked. They're 11-8. They've lost 5 of their last 7 and 6 of their last 9. St. John's is a 2-point favorite. Think about that for a second. And again, Providence, I looked inside the numbers to see what I could find, because obviously when I see something like this, a line like this, where it's a perceived easy play for public betting, where they see a team that's ranked and 18-2 as an underdog against an unranked team, not only an unranked team, but a team that hasn't really been playing that good lately. Certainly, that's going to be an obvious play for a lot of people. Well, it's not going to be for me. Providence coming off a big win on Saturday over Marquette. Not only did they defeat the number 22 Marquette Golden Eagles, but they also avenged a 30-plus point loss on the road at Marquette, which was one of their 2 losses. So they beat a nationally ranked team with revenge. And now 2 days later, with 1 day of rest, they're taking on St. John's on the road. And Providence has gone 0-6 against the spread since 2019, 2020, when playing with 1 or less days of rest. So all under the tutelage of current head coach Ed Cooley. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, Hey, Doug. I'm sorry, Doug. No disrespect. I'm going to take St. John's here, minus the 2 over Providence. And Doug likes Stanford minus the 5.5 over California. There you go, folks. We're going to go 2-0 for you today. Remember that, because we're going to be back on Thursday. Starting every Thursday, me and Doug will be doing an NBA betting edition where we'll cover the Friday board. And Doug, what do you have going on? What's how you been doing of late, and fill the folks in?
Sure. Speaking of the NBA, looking forward to start to do that with you, Ross, coming Thursday. And the NBA, it's been very good to me of late. 9-1. I come into as I do this video, so things have been red hot in the association, as the players like to call it. So I'm just looking forward to just getting going. For whatever reason, I run into these hot streaks in the NBA. They just kind of come up out of nowhere, like anybody. Sometimes random events, and all of a sudden you struggle a little bit. It doesn't really make sense. And all of a sudden things just start to come clearly. That's kind of the zone I'm in right now, specifically with the NBA and more or less with the NHL then too. Okay. Still hitting over 66% in the NHL since the end of December. And wow. It's at the end of December. So that has been good too. So we'll see, just trying to keep it going here. And again, don't forget, golf picks coming up too. 3 straight winning weeks. Okay. Looking to make it 4 at one of my favorite places on earth in terms of golf.
Question for you.
Yes.
Do you have in mind what you're going to use for golf this weekend?
To be honest with you, what I do is I look at it and I do it usually Tuesday afternoon, because there's odds out now, but there's not a lot of them out. Okay. Yeah. And most of the stuff that this is for everybody to know, is that most of it is just who's going to win. They start Monday later in the month, sometimes Monday afternoons, like I get done with this video, you'll start to see some top 10s, some top 5s, but everything is not complete. And then the numbers they're still a little bit raw. And then usually you see adjustments on Tuesday. And so I finalize everything Tuesday night, and then my plays are available at Doc Sports on Wednesday mornings.
Yeah. And you've worked in the golf industry prior to getting into the sports betting industry. So it's not like you've never been involved in the golf industry
No,
whatsoever.
no, yeah, I worked in the golf industry for, in all honesty, 25 plus years. And that's what I do. And so, but doing it in the Midwest, though, I had especially in the wintertime, I had a lot of time. So that's really, to be perfectly honest, that's where I really started got into the sports betting aspect, because I had a lot of free time. Not many people coming through the door that time of year. And so that's where, and especially now that I don't have an association, nobody else, I can say that honestly, because not all my former employees and bosses might look at me and wonder what I was doing all that time, and I'd be giving up what I was doing. But
Yeah, it's a good career move, Doug, that you made. Doug, are you a head-to-head guy, or are you a top
tournament,
10?
I no, I do tournaments. Yes,
Okay.
I do. I don't do daily. Okay, I've tried to do daily, just for whatever reason, just has never worked out for me. So I do tournaments, and I do. I seldom do winners. I mean,
Yeah.
very seldom. But
Okay.
I'll do top fives. Like this past week, I had John Rahm in the top five. Seemed like an obvious choice based on the course and everything else, and finished third overall. I do top tens, top 20s, and I will do some head-to-heads. And I do a few exotics if I find them. And what I mean by exotics is if there's groups. So if you go in, you'll find groups of either 3 or 5, and your player has to have the best score
Okay.
against with odds in those. I do some of those, and I also do a few if I see just the right spots. For example, top American, top British player, top, I mean, different nationalities and stuff, or groups, how they are with the Spaniards, stuff like that. However, those, so a variety of those things, but primarily, yeah, top tens, fives, and 20s are mostly what I do, with a few head-to-heads.
Very interesting. And folks, again, like hockey, that Doug does well, you don't have to watch it to make money on it. This guy here is the expert. So it's like investing with a good stockbroker. You don't watch the stock board all day long. Wake up in the morning, you won. How good is that? You know what I mean? You're not going to change the outcome by watching the game. You're not that powerful. None of us are. So those of you say, yeah, but I don't care for golf. Yeah, but I don't care. Well, you're betting on sports, aren't you? The objectivity to betting on sports is to win, and win over the long haul. So that's why once in a while, you might want to take a shot at Doug's NHL picks and PGA picks, because they've been very good. And you can find him at docsports.com. You can find me at rbwins.com. Nice weekend, 8-4, 2-0 in the NFL, 2-1 in the NBA, 4-3 in college basketball. Both 10-star top plays I had this weekend. One, Texas Tech, as I alluded to, in college basketball on Saturday. And then yesterday, I cashed in on the Rams and 49ers game under 46. Didn't predict the exact score like somebody I know, but I won pretty easily. So it was a good weekend overall. And you can find me at rbwins.com, folks. College basketball, my 10-star top plays. Not only did I win on Saturday, but I've made a lot of money with those plays since 2018. As a matter of fact, since the end of the 2018-2019 season, I'm on an 87-61 run with my college basketball 10-star top plays. That's good for 59% over those 148 picks. And also dime players who bet on every one of those games, hypothetically, have made better than $20,000 during that time. So you can find me at rbwins.com. NBA was number 6 in the NBA at sports capping last year, off to a mediocre start right now. But you know what, folks? If you followed me last year, this is the time of year through the end of the year is when I come on strong. For Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you nothing but the very best. Good luck and God bless.